a franchise that, one could only dream to be like, to a franchise with a new name. The Washington Commanders. Well, we have a new name, and we have a new name because I'm not getting into that. Listen, our owner, Dan Snyder, is back in the news for the same reasons that he got the news for the first place. Recently, there were 6 former employees of the Washington Commanders, formerly Washington football team, formerly Washington Redskins, and joined the leader of the House of Representatives Oversight Committee on Thursday. 6 new allegations, sexual assault, or sexual harassment. And Sid, let me tell you, man, just thank the good Lord every single night that you have the amazing franchise you do, because this mess right here it makes you not even want to be a fan anymore, man. And I've been in this thing for 30 plus. It's rough.
For you.
It's rough.
I feel for you. That's tough, man.
And the worst part about it is this isn't the first time. This isn't the second time. You know what I mean? Multiple times this has been going on, and you start to ask her, after the first time, you're like, okay, he's definitely going to get out. After the second, you're like, this has got to be it. After it continues to happen, you get to the point where, like, yeah, he should be getting out, but I don't think he's going to. We already know he might. It's speculated that he has something on the NFL or on some of these owners. The reason why he is still around, that is feasible that he has that leverage. But like, what do you think from the outside looking in? Like, what are your thoughts on this?
It's tough because I've always been of the thought or the understanding. I mean, they own the team, so it's on. I mean, you can't force. It's hard to force somebody to sell something that they own. It's not like he has a boss that can fire him for these allegations or like crack down on him. I mean, he owns it. Now, obviously the owners can come together as a group and force that, but you have to have. There's got to be a standard or some sort of like measure to hold it up to, because you don't want one allegation to mean that you have to sell a team, because obviously the other owners don't want that, because because then somebody could just make a fake allegation because they want the owner out or whatever. So there's got to be like a legitimate way of going about it. And at this point, it's almost like where there's smoke, there's fire. Where there's 17 fire, there's probably fire. So I mean, how many times can it come out where it's not real and they don't do anything about it? Because eventually it's going to look bad on the NFL and the other owners, and that's when I think it finally caves. Because I think before it's always been the Washington organization has looked bad and his owners, but now it's going to start spilling over into the other organizations and the rest. Anytime you damage the shield or make the shield look bad, that's when they all come cracking down.
Exactly. And speaking of damaging the shield, talk about damaging the star. America's team just had this same nonsense come out about in their organization. And one of the things that they were saying was, it was one of the top guys, and they were saying, you can't tell me Jerry Jones didn't know something like that was going on. Because the women immediately went up and filled out reports and made the accusations and this and that. And it was kind of like, really? Got hush. And the man kept his job for 5 years out. Really? You know what I mean? So
right. Especially with how plugged in Jerry Jones is with that team. I mean, he's all in. That's his whole life. Yeah. He's eating sausage McGriddles in his office trying to go over game tape. If you watched Hard Knocks, you'll get that reference.
You're right.
But yeah, I mean, that's definitely not a good look for them either. And again, this is something that they're never going to force him to sell for that, but it's definitely a blemish and definitely embarrassing to be a Cowboys fan as of right now because of that.
Right. And it is. It absolutely is, Ash. But I mean, look, to your point, like the NFL really has had a history of being kind of lax on this. I mean, let's not forget that Robert Kraft was caught with them ladies and whatnot, and he's still fine and dandy, Exactly. So you know what I mean. So I don't know. At this point, it's like you don't want to be naive. Right. Guys, rich guys tend to protect their own type situation. So I would love to see him out. I hope he gets out, but at the same time, we gross, I think, within the top 5 in the league. I think we're like worth $4 billion or something like that. So I don't see it. I don't see him going anywhere.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, I think. And the other thing is it's hard when like legally nothing's happening to him. Like he's not getting like legal charges pushed against him. Like the allegations are coming out, and obviously those are stories and stuff, but he hasn't been arrested. Like he's not. So like that's like what's really hard for the NFL is like obviously allegations are bad and it's not good. And if something's there, you want justice to be served. But if it needs to be served like through the justice system as well, and if it's not being served there, then the NFL really doesn't have anything to stand on. It's like, well, all these people are pointing at you, so you did it, but we can't really do that because nothing's proven. So it's like a really slippery slope. Whereas because that's like off the field that has nothing to do with football allegation, it's going to be harder to get him out. Whereas like the Dolphins situation, if it's proven that they're like tanking and that's like going against the game and hurting the game itself, like your
integrity of the game, right?
Exactly. That's way worse when it comes to trying to get an owner out or trying to like protect the NFL, because the integrity of the game is your product. So if you're damaging that and messing that up, they're going to force you out faster for that than I think for a sexual assault allegation. Whereas like I'm a normal person, and if you look at, oh, this guy's tanking and this guy's being like a terrible person towards women, that guy's way worse. But when it comes from a business standpoint in the NFL, the integrity of the game is way worse. Like, you know what I mean? So it's a sticky situation, but I think they are going to force him out soon, but they need more. Unfortunately, you wouldn't think they do, but with just how it works, I think.
This is a shame. It's a damn shame.
Right.
All right. You have my vote. I don't know. I know I can't vote, but if I could, you have my vote. Get him out of here. I'm done with him, man. I just want to move on. And in this, we can actually do that. We're going to move on, ladies and gentlemen.